if you want to predict the future trends, there are 7 things that you need to be armed with, but I'll give you 2. One is that life under the sun follows a cyclical path. You will find a lot of that in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 5 to 7. Just like a woman, she has her period this month, the period is coming next month. You can study it and know the pattern and know when it is coming because you study patterns. Are you there? So there's a cyclical arrangement of things that can give you the ability. If you study diligently, you'll be able to predict with a very high level of accuracy. Secondly, we now have signs. Even if your blood pressure begins to run haywire, there are signs that it will give you on your body. You know it's time to cool down. If a woman is ovulating, there are signs that it gives. So I'm going to dwell on signs because we are trying to find the counsel of God for nations. It will interest you to know that from the moment that the monarch of the United Kingdom passed, because the Greenwich Meridian happens to be in London, and that is a reference point for time and position. It is Big Ben that sets the time for the whole world, and longitude 0 is in Greenwich. The moment that displacement took place, it means that there is a shift. I'm talking about science. I'm using science as my parameter for this lecture this morning. A shift that will affect all time zones. And whenever there is a shift in the earth, because if you have studied, I don't have time to give you a lecture on the politics of Kenya and how that he had to take that shift for a different kind of government that is not within the scope of the circle of government as prescribed by the founding fathers could happen. It happened out of context. It was not consistent with the sequence. That kind of displacement can take place only when there is a shift. And from the moment of her passing, I know you are aware, all the nations that are connected to that scepter shifted. The reason why we can hope for a possible new Nigeria is in keeping with that shift. But if the watchmen in the territory do not understand how to interpret that sign and to take their journey, the sound for our own nation will be missed. And whenever there is a shift, I need to tell you the implication. There will be new prophecies. Yes. The moment your life experiences a shift, God will be making allocation for new prophetic words to come your way, because it's a new context altogether. For many months in the place of prayer, I keep seeing an angel come with a book. For many years, it's either a new page or a new chapter. But when we started drawing close to this year, it became a book. I prayed. I said, what sign is this? He said, remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. For behold, I will do a new thing, and it shall spring forth. Whenever there is a shift and the prophetic word that is supposed to drive you doesn't get to you, that shift will make you obsolete. That's the first prayer point. Are you still with me? That is, when God began to open these matters to me, I became afraid of pastor. Because after we did the power of God's mercy, God showed me mercy, serious mercy. So I'm trying to decode what God will do to me now. Many people are already on the path of missing the prophetic word that is consistent with this shift season. You need to go and tap into the frequency of the mind of God concerning your ministry, because the Lord gave us some form of a breakthrough where we are, and we built a small building, and they built a big office for me in a small building. So, and they were so concerned about how my office should look like. And then when they finished furnishing the office, I came to take possession of the office. Then the great one now said, "This is not your place. Don't get used to this place. Your place is on the field. Assign this office to somebody else." So I called one of our ministers and said, "You like praying for money till night. You lack our accommodation. Come and take this place." Now, if there is no shift in your own life, it means that you have not shifted with the season. It means you'll be outside of the economy of God that establishes God's purpose. You start becoming irrelevant, not because you are a sinner. So the first thing that happens when a shift like this takes place is that there are new prophecies. The second thing that happens is that there are new journeys. Some things that you never thought you'd be involved with now becomes a priority. For instance, I never thought I had any business with the crusade ground. I prefer conference environments like this. And then a shift now took place. Then I started seeing myself in crusades. Meanwhile, previously I tried to preach in crusades and the anointing will lift from my head. So I said, okay, it's not my portion. But when a shift took place, that's the best kind of meeting for me now. You see, no man is wise in himself. You are as relevant as your accuracy in the scheme of things that God has opened up in the season that you find yourself. New journeys will come out of significant shifts, and there is a sound of many waters that is gushing forth from heaven concerning individuals, concerning ministries, concerning cities, concerning. What do you know about the city where your church is planted? What do you know about the purpose of God for that piece of real estate? Do you know the warfares, why Satan is contending for that space? There are many insights that if you lack, you will just be a passerby. You will never be in the main ring of activity that determines the destiny of the territory. Meanwhile, the moment the guy ate that scroll, he had capacity to preach, to prophesy, to what? You can see the wide spectrum of prophetic ability that was committed to him because of a certain scroll that he ate. That is the extent to which God is willing to bring intelligence so that we can be accurate. Now, when God wants to edge out a man that has found success apart from his voice, what he does is that he just ordains a shift. He doesn't need to fight him. A shift will just take place, and that shift will render that man irrelevant. Now, the fact that he's irrelevant doesn't mean that he will stop having money. Money can, if you know how to put the systems in place, money will keep flowing. But the fact that there is money doesn't mean that you are in the cutting edge of what God is doing. Please help me tell your neighbor there are new journeys. Thirdly, a shift will create new warfares. There's a new context for warfare. You will find that Satan will be fighting for something. The emphasis of demonic battles will not be as it was in the old context. And if you are not aware of the shift, you will not even understand the reason why some things are happening to you. Suddenly there are demonic activities that you cannot explain. Say, these have not been happening to me before. If Satan has shifted, you are the only one still operating with old syllables. There is a shift. I want to stop so that we can pray. When there's a shift, then there are new mandates. Apart from the call with which you pioneer that ministry, God now gives you another responsibility that you knew nothing about when you started. And the reason is because the reference point has shifted. And everything around your life will need to experience a shift. For intercessors, the times you pray will have to change. He will tell you, stop praying this time, go this time. And maybe the hours that you put in. If you are in this congregation and what I'm saying doesn't apply to you in any way, you are fractured, you are outside of alignment. And that's why this conference was put together, so that you can find yourself. A lot of people are going to get lost before December. A lot of people. I've seen the thrones of many cities cast down, and many people that were in the forefront of affairs will fade away. Not that they will die. They will have no voice to contend with the enemy at the gates. New wars. Lord woke me up and said, if you want to find me now, look for me in the night. The entire scope of priesthood has changed, and I don't like. I work very hard in the day, so I prefer to sleep and then wake up early. He said the way now is that night you like. That is where the business. So if you are wise, you will not argue. You make adjustments quickly. I did not make adjustments quickly. When he said, look for me in the night, I gave him reasons why the night was not good. Then I went to preach somewhere. When I got back, I found out that half of my body was paralyzed. And there was an everlasting pain on my back that no drug could cure. Then I went back to him. He said, are you not, we talk about the night. I said, I'm ready now. The warfare had changed. He gave me intelligence, strategy on how to contend in this season. When I accepted, the pain left. That was a practical way of letting me know that I'm not too important. Yes. You can fade out. You can even be struck down. But a man that has access to intelligence, he can survive the greatest storms. Friends, I came to tell you there are new wars, new mandates, new journeys, new speakings over the nations. I know you are aware that the pendulum of God's interest has shifted to Africa. I know you are aware of that. That's why I didn't mention that one. You don't need to be a prophet to know that the sons of Africa are the ones that will stabilize Christianity in the world today. You don't need to be a prophet to know that. 3 moves of God are going to take place on the continent of Africa, and Nigeria have been chosen and sealed to be one of the nations that will be in the forefront of the move of God, giving direction to the nations of the world. People will need to come here to learn God now. And that's why Satan will not want our politics, our nation to be stable. He will not want our politics to have any headway. He will want us to be rocking like a donkey that is drunk. The reason for our warfare is because of our strategic placement, and the shift has even made us more vulnerable. Yeah. Satan may not need to pass through Burkina Faso, because in the scheme of things, there is no mighty role that nation will play. The nation will only receive from the places that God has planted his nursery. I saw a change of guard. Yes, the change of guard is complete and is sealed. Your prayer can't change it anymore.